Hey guys, welcome to Motoroids. My name is Amit and this of course is the Land Rover Defender, a legend which has been reincarnated. And while I love a lot of things about this car, there are a few things that I somewhat don't. However, let's start off with the things where it aces its competition. Well, there is no direct competition, but the two vehicles in India that come probably the closest to this car in terms of its off-road prowess, while also matching it for its premium positioning, are A, the Jeep Wrangler Rubicon, and B, the G-Class. However, if you look at all the specs, it aces them almost everywhere. It has the biggest dimensions, it's the longest, it's the tallest, it's the widest, and it also has the longest wheelbase. At 291 mm, this has the most amount of ground clearance. It comes with the most number of powertrain options, and in terms of capability also, arguably, this probably is the best. Now, if you look at these wheels right now, especially at the rear, you'll probably not see any suspension componentry, although you can see that this articulation is phenomenal. In fact, I can put my entire head here and there would still be space, and the suspension, the air suspension that you see hidden behind this wheel, comes as standard fitment on this car, and none of its competition boasts of that feature. However, if you are that old worldly guy who wants a coil spring for suspension, you can pay extra and get that as an option. That's how good this car is. And while it might look very daunting, which it is, for the people in the family, if you want to bring the axis height down, it has the capability of going up and down by up to 175 mm, which is phenomenal. Allows you to access the car when you are parked. However, when you are going over bad surfaces, it can almost clear a small ant hill. So all of these things obviously make it special. A few other things that make it unparalleled in terms of off-roading prowess is the fact that this can wade through 900 mm of water, which is absolutely the best number anywhere in the world. Even the best off-roaders in the world in their stock form don't give you that kind of water wading capability, and it's just too tall. So with almost 2 meters of its height, you can wade through water which is almost half its height. So that's quite something. And it's not just that, you can also know at what level the water is from the inside, because it comes with water wading sensing as well. So you are always in the know, and you know when to stop advancing when the water is at a higher level than recommended. Apart from that, another great thing that this car comes equipped with is the fact that it has a 360-degree camera, and not just these standard 4 cameras, which I personally believe are very important when you're going off-roading. In case you don't have a spotter, you need to be aware of where you are positioning the wheels of your car, because in most cases, if you're not aware of that, that's when your car, especially the tires, take a hit. So in that sense, this is phenomenal. But what is really special about this car is that it comes with clear sight ground view, which lets you know what is underneath the car and the surface on which your car is traveling while sitting inside the cabin. And I really believe that's a great feature for a serious off-roader who's traveling without a spotter. And the clear sight monitor on the shark fin antenna is also there, which gives you a very good understanding of what's coming from behind. Of course, you have a rear view camera at the bumper also, which gives you a good understanding of what's happening at the wheels. So all of that really equips this car with capability which is quite unmatched. However, as I mentioned before, there are a few chinks in its armor as well, and the biggest chink in its armor, according to me, is the fact that it doesn't come with hardcore off-road rubber, which is extremely important for such car, I personally believe, because these are the most vulnerable components of any off-roader. And as I experienced with the Jeep Wrangler Rubicon, the BF Goodrich tires were bulletproof. You can really take that car anywhere you like without a shade of doubt in your mind. You cannot quite do that with this car, because if you're taking it on sharp rocks, there is a good chance that these tires will develop a cut, and that always is a big risk. Although you do have a full-size spare wheel, so you do have adequate safety. However, I really believe this car could have done with more rugged tires and smaller wheels. These wheels compared to the size of the car may not look too big, but they are 20 inches, and I believe they could have done with an inch or two smaller size in favor of higher profile tires and better strength. Another thing which is a point of debate is that this car does not come with front or rear locking differentials, so you cannot manually lock the front or rear differential. All the magic happens all by itself, and Land Rover thinks that they know better than you. And while this car is traversing some tough terrains, all you have to do is dab the right pedal and the rest is taken care of by the car itself. And it does work magically. It does make a very good judgment. The terrain response 2 system here is absolutely fantastic. The software works like a charm, and of course it has a central diff which engages or disengages automatically. Even the front and rear axles can be turned into solid axles using software electronically, obviously, and it's obviously a function of ABS, traction control, and all of these things work in a modern manner, but not in a manner where the old world hardcore off-road guys like it to be. So like you have in the Wrangler, you don't have a front locking diff, so you cannot engage any diffs. And if you are going absolute hardcore off-roading, like going uphill climbing, rock climbing, maybe vehicles like say the Wrangler Rubicon or the new Bronco may have a bit of advantage, but then again that's subjective and it may be controversial. But the old world boys are definitely not going to move back from their stand. A few other things which are interesting and which I have told you before as well is that this car is a modern embodiment of the old Defender, which had a central locking diff and was a very capable off-roader and an agricultural machine as well. Up front you have a very clean cut yet very modern, very straight cut kind of a face. You have this silver applique on the bumper. I've talked about the design in my previous video as well. This light right now that you see here is an LED unit. You also get a matrix LED system on higher variants. You have this rubber here for putting your coffee cup. These vents here help channel the water when you are wading through it, and the discs also come with a function where they clean themselves as you come out of water, so you don't have stuff stuck in the discs. There are various packs available with the Defender, and one of the packs allows you to attach a snorkel here so that the water wading capability of the vehicle can be further enhanced. I am not very sure whether that would be required, but if you think there is a need, you can definitely do that. These mirrors come equipped with the blind spot monitoring system, and whether there is a person or a car in your blind spot, you would be notified with a light on the mirrors, and ditto for the doors. So if you're opening the door and there's a car coming from behind, you'd be notified inside, and I really believe that that's a great safety feature to have. Just like the old Defender, you have this very thick C-pillar, and it is of course a nod to the heritage of this vehicle. While you cannot see that from here, there are Alpine windows as well, which allow the rear passengers to look high up. If you are climbing up the mountains, you can probably look at the peaks and figure how high you have to go. And at the rear, you have the clear sight camera attached in the shark fin antenna, another camera right here. And at the rear, you have this massive swing out tailgate, which is rather heavy, and you would not want to be in its way if the car is facing skywards. However, once you shut it, it comes with this soft close function. This one here is the SE variant. You have the top of the line HSE variant, and you also have the first edition, and the features vary. I'll let you know what you get in the HSE variant on top of this. Now, while you don't have a trailer hook here, you will get it in the first edition and HSE variants. This one doesn't have it, but what this car does have is this button here, which can be used to lower the ride height of the vehicle from the rear, so that while you're loading or unloading stuff, it becomes a little easier. Now the space here is a little over 100 liters, still usable for a couple of haversacks or a duffel bag. And once you put the third row down like so, you get 1075 liters of boot space if you use it all the way up to the roof. And if you put the second row down, you'll get boot space up to 2380 liters, which is more than sufficient to move houses. We'll talk about the third row in a bit, but all in all, it's a very practical car. And as far as off-roaders are concerned, I've driven the G-Wagon and I've driven the Jeep Wrangler Rubicon, and I can tell you that with a lot of conviction that in terms of the refinement, the comfort and the suitability to travel with family, none of the other cars which are hardcore capable off-roaders come even close to this machine. And this is as practical, as desirable and as capable as it gets, while being a hardcore and bearing that legendary Defender nameplate on its tailgate. Time now to get inside and see the features and the way this car drives. Now before we get in, let's also talk about how much weight this car can carry with the trailer on. And it can carry a trailer up to 3500 kgs, and apart from that, this car can have up to 160 kgs of dynamic load on the roof and up to 300 kgs of static load on the roof. And if you want to seat people inside, the payload can be as much as 900 kgs. So you can put in 9 people, 100 kgs each, or 10 people like me who are 90 kgs each inside this car without a trouble. Now, while I talked about a lot of things the last time, there were a few aspects which I was not able to touch upon. So let's start off with those aspects, which includes the last row of seats. And while I'll get there and let you know how much space is there in a bit, what's also important is to know that the back of all these seats is washable. So even after you muddy them, you dirty them, it's very easy to clean them. You can actually hose wash them. So all of that has been taken care of. And the other interesting bit is that this car goes down significantly. So right now it's in access mode, where getting inside is not too difficult since the ride height is a bit too much for people who are vertically challenged. However, to get inside, you have this grab handle to help you get inside like so. But at this point in time, we'll be talking about the third row, and entry is not the easiest despite this car being quite a huge car. And to get inside, you have to pull this lever here and then slide this seat forward to create access. While this is the opening, you can use this lever here to tumble the seat down fully if you want to increase your luggage carrying capacity. Now, since I want to get inside, I would want to know how easy or difficult it is. And this exercise of moving the seat forward and backward can by itself be quite cumbersome sometimes, as you can observe right now. So it's not very well thought out, and we have definitely seen cheaper cars which come with a tip and tumble feature. So that feature is not available here, and the entry could definitely have been a bit more easier. So that's the opening I have. And as you would have observed, you have to be a bit of a contortionist if you are a fully grown man to get into the third row. Now, there is not enough space, as you can see, and this seat is meant only for children. Now, since the second row is 40-20-40 split, you can actually drop down the 20 part even if there are 2 people sitting in front of you, to extend the knee room a little bit. However, this is not going to help by much, and even if you request the people in the second row to slide the seat forward, the knees will be pointing skywards, and this seat is meant only for very small children. Although you have 2 AC vents, 2 12-volt power sockets here, a bottle holder, a strap on either side for holding water bottles again, and a flow control along with headrests and of course seat belts. This seat is meant only for very short journeys, in emergencies, or maybe for very small children. Once you drop this row, you can use this parcel tray. You can deploy it and you can use it for popping whatever loose items you may have in your hand. As you can see here, you also have these hooks, so when you've dropped the third row, you can use these hooks to fasten your luggage so that it doesn't roll around. Now, getting out isn't easy either, and you have to be even more of a contortionist to get out, and this third row is definitely not recommendable for adults. However, the same cannot be said about the second row, which is very spacious and can actually seat 3 in comfort. And not just that, this car can be had in 3 configurations. You can have it in 5, 6 or 7-seater configurations. So what you see here is the 7-seater configuration, and the 6-seater configuration actually removes the armrest in the front seat and replaces it with a seat. So you have 2 rows and seating for 6. And since obviously the person in the middle up front is going to be blocking the view of the rear view mirror, that's why you have this clear sight rear view monitor. Now, ingress, as I mentioned before, even with access mode, is slightly higher, and you will have to be using this grab handle here. The materials here are high quality. Exposed bolts and metal are a nod to the original Defender, and you have some hard wearing plastic here, although there are quality materials everywhere. I simply love this element here, which is an open pore rough cut walnut insert. You have Meridian audio system, space for 1 liter water bottle, and as I mentioned before, this light here informs you if there's a car coming from behind and starts blinking. So this is a blind spot monitoring system for the people at the back, and this is there for the people up front as well. There is no dearth of space, ample knee room, ample leg room, more than enough headroom even for people who are 6'5" or 6'6". It's got a 4-zone climate control with auto mode, and it's got 2 USB power sockets and 2 12-volt power sockets. So 4 here. I showed you 3 in the back, so that makes it 7. And then in addition, you have 2 + 1 up front, so at least 10 power sockets in this car. And if you're hungry for more, you have 1 here and 1 right here. And if you're still complaining, you're too greedy, and we cannot really help it. These right here are the Alpine windows that I talked about. You have reading lights, coat hook, grab handle, a big wide armrest with adjustable cup holders, adjustable headrest for the third passenger, a proper 3-point seat belt, which you get often, but what you don't really get very often is a proper seat without a big transmission tunnel, which can actually seat 3 people abreast for medium to long journeys. And this car actually can seat 3 people in the middle row, and it's one of those rare cars which can actually take 3 people here and take them for very long journeys as well. It gets a panoramic sunroof, although it probably could have been a little bigger going by the length of the car, but it's sufficient, opens up the skies for you very well. The air conditioning works very well. There is air suspension here, so ride quality is fantastic. Sound insulation is fantastic. There is absolutely no problem there as well. This, despite being a proper off-roader, corsets you inside beautifully. The insulation is top notch, and all of these things make the Defender the best off-roading family SUV that you can buy. So if you're in for a proper hardcore off-road SUV which can also lug your family around, then this is the car to go for. Now, the materials up front are familiar to what I showed you in the second row, and you get this soft to touch material here, exposed metal, these rivets, hard wearing plastic. Although you have a few more buttons here and some more space in the door panel, although you cannot put a 1 liter bottle upright here, so I think that's a bit of a bummer. You get 3-way memory for the driver as well as passenger. Child lock control like you do in other Land Rovers as well. Lock, unlock. However, you don't get heated mirrors, which I think is an omission. The familiar blind spot monitoring warning system is visible here as well. And what you see here is a special treatment given to metal, and it's powder coated to give it a very rugged, very metallic look. And the interior, especially up front, is very open. It has a ton of storage spaces. So let's get inside and see all the features that we have on the first row of the Defender. Now the top of the line HSE over the SE gets matrix lighting, 20-inch wheels as standard, panoramic sunroof as standard, it's an option here, a 14-way heated and cooled front seats, and a special leather steering wheel. The standard seats are also very comfortable and are adjustable not just for fore and aft adjustment, height and recline angle, but also they are adjustable electrically 4-way for lumbar support. You'd also appreciate this little crevice here where you can pop whatever you have in your pocket and get seated comfortably. And another thing that you'll appreciate is this electric adjustment for the steering wheel for both reach and rake. And just as is the case here, the steering also get a special powder coated treatment and looks rather nice. Now this central panel that you see here can be completely removed, and it also serves as a grab bar since this is a proper off-roader. This wide armrest can be flipped back and can be turned into a tray, and you'll use it probably for a drink that you stored here in this refrigerator, and you can turn it off or increase or decrease its intensity. It's illuminated as well. You get wireless charging, and this tray which can be removed to expose 2 massive cup holders, and then you have this space to spare along with a USB socket, a USB Type-C socket, and a 12-volt power socket along with this USB socket right here. So no dearth of power sockets here. The material on the dashboard is soft to touch, although this is not leather, although these grab bars here which are a part of the dashboard are wrapped in high quality soft to touch leather like material. The glove box is reasonably sized, and you obviously have this beautiful panoramic sunroof, and this is how the clear sight rear view monitor works. You just flick this switch here and it shows you a panoramic view of what's happening behind. You can also adjust the camera angle using these controls here. Okay, so let's open and close the sunroof and see how it functions. So this is the button for blinds, one touch enabled of course, and this button here is for the ventilation mode. You press it once and the sunroof allows some air to come in. You press it again and the sunroof will go back halfway and open up the skies for you and let some air in as well, and you press it back again and it'll shut and go back in place. You get a sunglasses holder here. Both sides get vanity mirror with illumination, and you also get a toll ticket holder here. You get this 12.3-inch fully digital screen which is configurable, and you get the all new 10-inch PV Pro, which according to Land Rover is their most advanced infotainment screen, but it has a mind of its own, and sometimes it's laggy, sometimes it doesn't quite connect very well with Bluetooth. And we really believe that there can be software updates which can make it function better, although these software updates are not going to be very difficult because there are 2 eSIMs pre-installed in this car which allow for OTA software updates, and that's really commendable. And apart from that, some party tricks that this car has include this 4x4 information screen here which lets you know as to what is happening, the incline angle, the lateral angle, the altitude, as well as the differentials that have been engaged. It also lets you know the weight sensing limit of the car, and right now since it's in access mode, the maximum wading depth is 0.7 m, that's 700 mm, but if I take it higher, if I increase the ride height, it will go up to 0.9 meters, which is 900 mm. This mode lets you know about the various different modes and where you should be using them. And finally, you have the configurable terrain response system, which is Terrain Response 2, and this is a rare system. You will not get it anywhere else, and it's available only in a few cars. And the configurable terrain response system lets you choose from how you want your car to react in off-road conditions. So you can have your differential in automatic mode, or you can have it central slip limited or central and rear slip limited. You can have the powertrain as relaxed, normal or responsive. You can have the steering as light, medium or heavy, and you can have the traction control induce less wheel spin or put it in off-road mode or allow it to have more wheel spin. So this is a special feature, and in addition to all of this, you get clear view ground view system, which magically allows you to see what's happening beneath the car. And this is how it works, and it will work only when the car is in motion. So as you can see, now since the car in motion, you can actually see where the wheels are moving. You can see the surface below the car, right below the front two wheels, and it also tells you the angle of steer, and it can be a fantastic aid for people who are driving without a spotter. It really is very, very useful, especially when you are driving without a spotter. It also lets you know the differentials engaged and the angle of the steering as well. Now in addition to that, you can also have a look at both the front wheels individually, and all of this really is very, very useful. Now in addition to all of that, you also get a proper 360-degree view camera, and you can change the views as you like, as well as project the car in its surroundings like so. Now in addition to what I've shown you, you get navigation, a low traction launch mode, and this is how you activate it. Take the foot off the accelerator, engage the suggested mode, and have the TPMS off or descent control only. Now TPMS, or terrain progress monitoring system, is kind of a cruise control for off-road, where the car takes care of the inclines and declines, and takes care of the surface and traction, everything by itself, and keeps moving at the suggested speed. A demo of this feature has been done, and you can find the link above. Now this car comes equipped with a Meridian audio system, which is par for course. It's nothing exceptional, it's not bad either. It's not audiophile level, but for everyday use and for some high quality listening, it's not bad at all. The seats are very, very comfortable, and overall the availability of space, except for the lack of the space for 1 liter water bottle, is more than sufficient. As you can see, this entire space can be used for storage purposes. In fact, the space behind this screen can also be used for storage, so there is no dearth of storage at all. And all in all, it's a unique interior. It's very, very beautifully laid out. It's very plush, very premium, but it has those slight hints that let you know about the lineage of this car, about the rugged agricultural beginnings, humble beginnings of the Defender, which started its journey as the Series 1. Now, while you will find a lot of modes in a lot of other cars, the modes here are primarily focused at off-roading. And apart from the eco mode, you will get a comfort mode, grass, gravel, snow mode, mud ruts mode, sand mode, rock crawl mode, where the low ratio gearbox is engaged, water wading mode, and a configurable mode that I just showed you. So all of these off-roading modes are available, and in addition to all of that, you have this dedicated button for low, which you can engage when the car is in neutral. You can increase or decrease the ride height using the buttons here. You can turn the traction control off using the button here, and rest of the buttons are self-explanatory. Like in other Land Rover cars, these screens toggle to change the information that is displayed, and they switch from flow control to temperature control here, and from flow control to mode select right here. Now all in all, this is a very unique interior, and I for one am personally in love with this. Given a choice, I'll go for this car over any other car. It's a truly versatile car. Although if I really have to nitpick, a bit more extensive ambient lighting and a little bit more intuitiveness, especially with these buttons here, would really have helped. Although this car is really well equipped and has all the bells and whistles that you get in some of the most premium cars, so no complaints there. Now we did a fair bit of off-roading today in beautiful wet Maharashtra, where the soil can really turn greasy and sticky. during this time of the year. And typically I've seen that if a vehicle is not capable enough, what happens is while you're climbing an incline, the wheels start spinning in place, and no matter how good an all-wheel drive system you have, the progress upwards is stalled. And I really have to give it to Land Rover for this vehicle. Despite being this heavy, I did not find it whimpering for once. There were some really steep inclines and I had my doubts, but this car erased all of them, and it really is a very, very capable machine off the road. We are not the kind of people who will go out splashing mud. We test vehicles the way they are supposed to be, and we tested this vehicle off the road going by the ethos of off-roading, which says you should go as slow as possible and as fast as required. And the Land Rover Defender totally astonished us. Unless you're going in conditions where there's a chance of the tires getting cut with sharp rocks, or where there is a serious predicament for the paintwork of the vehicle, I don't really think that in terms of its capabilities, the Defender is second to none. In terms of a hardcore experience, I still believe that the Wrangler can do better, because the doors can be removed and you won't really have to bother about the metal as much. It's also more hardcore. The chances of the car losing its paint or losing its metalwork, that being a more off-road oriented vehicle, are less. So for the out and out hardcore guys, I would like to think that the Jeep Wrangler Rubicon is probably a better choice. But if you want the most well-rounded off-roader, something which can drive on the road in a sophisticated manner as well, like it is right now, then there is absolutely nothing that can touch the Defender. It is supremely capable off the road, and when it drives on the road, it doesn't feel as hardcore as it is. It really is a mind-bogglingly, flabbergastingly good combination between off-road capability and on-road manners. The air suspension on this car will keep your family members corseted, and in fact the way it's very well insulated from the outside world is also something which is absolutely amazing. So this car can be your family car as well, and your car for mud plunging over the weekend. It really is the most versatile car that I have come across. Its road manners are also quite praiseworthy, and despite being sprung on all four corners by air suspension, it doesn't feel wobbly. It does have a very solid feel to it while you're driving it around a pair of bends. For a vehicle which is 2.3 tons heavy, it really does hold its line very well. Of course, it's not as predictable and as enjoyable as, say, the Evoque, which is lighter and a lot more road biased, but it's equally, if not more comfortable, and it's definitely more spacious and has a lot more features. It has a lot more attitude. So being behind the wheel of this car doesn't leave you wanting for anything. Just because this is a proper off-roader doesn't really mean that you cannot enjoy it on the road, and in fact it's one of the more enjoyable SUVs out there. This one right here is the P300 variant, which is a 2-liter turbo petrol variant that we have, and the power output here is 300 PS and the peak torque is 400 Newton meters. And the only grouse that I have with the petrol motor is the fuel efficiency. The real world fuel efficiency would hover around 6 to 7 kmpl. The best that you'll get would probably be 8.5. So the fuel efficiency is something that probably could have been better here, but you do have diesel options also. And this in fact is a vehicle which comes with a wide variety of engine options in India as well. So you can go with diesel. You have a more powerful petrol, which is the P400, or you can go with a 3-liter diesel with 300 PS and 650 Newton meters of torque. So you have a lot to choose from, but the experience in this car is simply unmatched. Of course, it's not a sports car, so I'm not going to be singing praises about the way it handles around corners, but it is a very, very sure-footed set of 4 wheels. And the transmission here, the trusty old 8-speed ZF transmission, is also pretty good, although I really believe that I wouldn't really have minded paddle shifters here for manual shifts. You do have sport mode, which you can engage like so, and then use the manual mode like so, but pedal shifters are being missed here. Also, the ZF transmission here isn't as well tuned as I have seen it being tuned on the BMWs. I really think that the BMW makes the best out of the ZF 8-speed transmission, and it does show some reluctance sometimes where you put the pedal down and it takes a wee bit of a movement before it kicks down and puts you in the right gear. But I'm just nitpicking here. For what it is, this vehicle is absolutely fantastic. That minor glitch in the transmission can probably also be because this is a modified version where you also have a low ratio gearbox. So all in all, if I'm talking about any complaints, I'm just being unfair, because the job that Land Rover have done with this vehicle, creating a vehicle which is so good off the road and still so amazing on the road. Like for example, when I drove the Wrangler, I was really impressed with the vehicle off the road. It really is something. However, on the road, the limited capability of that vehicle is very, very evident. The tires make a lot of noise. A lot of wind noise can be heard inside. The handling is absolutely rubbish on the road. So all of those things are absolutely not visible here. They're completely absent. And this is a beautifully set up, comfortable SUV, which can probably be a Discovery or maybe even a Land Rover. If you did not know that this was the Defender, it's so good, and when you take it off the road, it really comes into its own and shows you why it's different. So my 2 pence, if you have the money, if you want an SUV which can do it all, go ahead and buy it. No complaints whatsoever. So this, guys, in my humble opinion, is probably the most complete car that you can buy on the planet right now. And the Defender 90, which is the 3-door version, starts at 76 lakh rupees, and this one, which is the Defender 110, the 5-door version, the 7-seater, starts at 86 lakh rupees, and depending on the engine option that you go for, goes all the way up to 1.1 crore rupees. And if you want to put things in perspective, there are a few other options, not many, although the Wrangler is a lot less expensive at about 58 lakh rupees for the Rubicon variant. It doesn't quite hold a candle to this car in terms of the sheer plushness, the sheer refinement, and its adaptability to various driving conditions. And I really believe that this car is in a league of its own. Some people do the mistake of comparing it with the G-Class as well, and I really think that the G-Class now, for what it offers, is ridiculously priced at 1.6 crore rupees and goes above 2 crore rupees all the way to 2.4 crore rupees. So there really is no real competition to this car globally, and it's in a league of its own. And I'm pretty sure that going forward, this car is going to inspire a lot of manufacturers to follow its trail, follow its footsteps, and develop something similar. In my personal opinion, there is absolutely no comparison of this car, and it's absolutely fearless. So if you want just one car in your garage which can do it all for you, this right here is the car that you should be going for. I hope that this video was of some use to you. If you liked it, don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribe to Motoroids. Always put Motoroids in your searches, and do share our content with your friends and family. It really helps us. And until next time, this is Amit Changani signing off. Rev hard, rev free, and drive safe.